Good morning, everybody. I wish to thank the African Economic Zones Organization for inviting me to speak to you at your 5th annual meeting. Congratulations. Now, you're meeting at a time of great challenges with COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has claimed too many lives and slowed down global growth, trade, and investments. The African Development Bank has been very responsive in supporting countries to address this pandemic in Africa. The bank launched a $10 billion crisis response facility to support countries' immediate needs for liquidity. The bank also launched a $3 billion COVID-19 social bond on the capital markets globally, the largest ever US dollar-denominated social bond in world history. Now, this is all part of our mission to ensure that Africa develops faster and improves the quality of life of its people. Africa has had impressive economic growth over the past 1 decade, including 6 of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world. While the pandemic, of course, has set us back with a decade of growth lost, I am confident that Africa will bounce back. The same fundamentals that drove growth are still there. At the core of this must be the growth of the private sector and the deployment of supportive environments for their operations. Globally, special economic zones have powered the economic growth of several countries. Their numbers have exploded from less than 200 in the 1980s to 5,000 today. Collectively, they have contributed exports worth $3.5 trillion, roughly 20% of global trade in goods. In Africa, special economic zones are operating in 38 countries. They account for annual trade turnover of $680 million. The special economic zones have not been, of course, as successful in Africa compared to Asia and other parts of the world for several reasons. First, it's the more limited infrastructure, with Africa's infrastructure financing gap estimated to be between $68 and $108 billion annually. Second, it's the weaker institutional environment and coordinating challenges. And third, is the limited access to financing to develop well-integrated value chains. And fourth, the primary focus of these zones on exports alone has weakened the linkages with the wider local economy with very limited transfer of skills, technology, and markets. Essentially, they often create islands of wealth in the midst of wider poverty. The African Development Bank is investing heavily, of course, in closing the massive infrastructure gap. This includes energy, roads, ports, ICT, and transport corridors. The bank is also supporting the Africa Exchange Linkage Project to integrate stock exchanges across Africa. These will help to create an integrated capital markets with capitalization in the excess of $1 trillion, representing 90% of Africa's total equity market. These will increase liquidity and enable seamless trading platforms across the continent. The goal of our effort is to support the integration of Africa's markets. The African Continental Free Trade Area, which will become operational in January of 2021, will now provide a market of 1.3 billion people, a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion. It will be the largest free trade zone in the world. So the times have changed. And the opportunities have also changed for the private sector and for the Africa Economic Zones Organization. While special economic zones have been primarily focused on exports, they now need to sharply focus on the regional markets in Africa. Special economic zones should allow Africa to now develop its manufacturing capacity, competitive regional value chains for exports into Africa Continental Free Trade Area and to expand integration into global value chains. Today, let me highlight one important opportunity: agriculture. Agriculture, food, and agribusiness is the sector with the largest potential for wealth impact for Africa. The size of the food and agriculture market is estimated to rise to over $1 trillion by 2030. Think of that. Tapping into this massive market requires a structural approach to develop better integrated food and agricultural value chains. And that's why the African Development Bank is supporting the development of special agro-industrial processing zones called SAPZs. These zones will focus on agro-industrialization by investing massively in integrated infrastructure in areas of high potential agricultural value chains, including processing, marketing, and logistics. The SAPZs will help to unlock vast economic and trade opportunities from value-added agriculture in Africa. 5 SAPZs are already in implementation, including Ethiopia's integrated agricultural parks, Togo's agro-food processing zones, and in Senegal, of course, and in Guinea. Now, several more, of course, are planned. Regional SAPZs will also consolidate integrated infrastructure and agricultural processing and food manufacturing companies around regional transport corridors. These will allow for economies of scale by taking advantage of regional infrastructure, transport, and logistics for lowering costs and enhancing competitiveness. The African Development Bank will continue to help to accelerate private sector investments into Africa. The bank-supported Africa Investment Forum has helped to attract $78.1 billion of investment interest in Africa into just 2 years. One of these investments is the $26 billion Mozambique liquefied natural gas project, which will make Mozambique the world's 3rd largest exporter of liquefied natural gas. Our financing for Bokeh Mine Rail and Port in Guinea will improve Guinea's position in global markets and move it towards processing bauxite into aluminum. Our $600 million co-financing for Ghana's cocoa board will allow it to add greater value to its cocoa and to attract better prices for its farmers globally. That's the Africa we need and the Africa we want, one that is beaming with investments. As you meet today, think Africa. Think a new Africa. You all, as members of the Africa Economic Zones Organization, play a very important role in making the new Africa happen. The African Development Bank commits to specifically work with you to expand your investments and to specially help to develop the special agro-industrial processing zones, SAPZs, across Africa. I wish you all a very successful meeting. Thank you very much.